Welcome, everybody, to the Momentum Podcast. I'm here with Alex, Frankie, and myself, William. Today, we're going to be going over basically our whole journey in the agency space. And just a disclaimer before we get started, I do want to preface that anything we do talk about here on this podcast in the future, right now, anywhere, is coming from our own experience. This is our own journey, our own tries and tribulations throughout our whole agency space. So I know there's other people that have probably made more money, less money, no more. Sure. What we're going over today is exactly how we were able to scale our companies and get to over 100K months in 6 months and continue to grow our lead generation company. Now, first I want to go through and just quickly touch base on Alex, Frankie, and myself. Alex, we could start off with you. Who you are, what do you do, and go from there.
My name's Alex Bloomfield. I live in Auburn Hills, Michigan, and I own a lead generation agency with Frankie and William.
Frankie.
Hey guys, my name is Frankie. Same thing you just heard. We own the lead gen agency. A little bit about
And what do you do, Frankie?
I run CSM, backend ops. I guess I would be like the COO, you could say.
Perfect. And myself, William, I'm head of sales. We run all the sales departments here. We also run the lead generation company. And now we're also going to be helping out other people do the same thing and also grow their own companies. Now, first things first, why'd we end up choosing a lead generation company? What started us off in marketing and that? I know that Alex was the key driver for that in the beginning. So if you want to touch on that, why you end up deciding that this was the right play for you and how we all kind of came together.
So I did e-commerce back in the day, like high school, 16, 17 years old. And I ran Facebook ads to generate traffic to a website to sell vitamin E oil and scaled it to 40K per month. But I had payment processor problems. And then also the data tracking on Facebook ads messed up. So I went to college, started a landscaping company, and generated leads for the landscaping company, grew that to 8 employees. But I always wanted to work from my computer. Back when I did e-commerce in high school, I was like, it's just so much better working from my laptop. And I was like, okay, I can sell leads to landscaping companies and tree service businesses. So I sold the landscaping company and we started growing.
That's when we started our lead generation company, and we've all been scaling from there.
Yeah.
Now, what specifically were the offers that we went through? Because I'll be honest, we've gone through many, many different offers throughout our journey in a marketing agency. And I think that a lot of people get mixed up in what's the best offer, what's going to work the best. They see a lot of different offers on the ad library or other people doing similar things. Frankie, what were some of the offers that we went through in the beginning portion of our agency?
Yeah, so I mean, like the basics: retainer model, pay per lead, rev share. I mean, honestly, they all have their plus, their benefits, their negative things that come with it. But just lead gen, you can't be pay per lead. It's just a lot more.
What was the worst one that we dealt with as we kept going?
A retainer, but then we also charged them ad spend directly to us, and we had processor fees, and that was a mess.
Explain that so the people don't do that same mistake.
Yeah.
What caused that issue?
So we had issues getting people set up. We realized in the industry that we were in, a lot of people, they just weren't as tech savvy as, a lot of other
How many
industries.
though, Frankie? How many do we have on that? Doing
like
this?
50
so they can
clients,
see how big the problem was.
Like 50 clients. And we were losing money on every single one of those clients because of the 3%. So we were making money, yeah, but we could have been making a lot more from every single client.
What happened is we would get the ad spend payment for the client the week of. So we were not financing their ad spend. That would be even worse. But we had so many clients, we would have to be super dialed in, like on Monday, who made the payment, who did not make the payment. You have to turn their campaign off. If you turn their campaign off, it's going to ruin optimization. So just because they didn't answer the phone on Monday, do you wait until Tuesday? Super massive headache you do not have to go through.
There's a lot of nuances when it comes to a lot of the different offers that most of these people won't say. Now, this is going to be a kind of a raw just conversation that we have throughout our whole journey. So you might pick up on some things that maybe you don't understand, maybe you do understand. we have no idea. But, as you're in this industry, a lot of these things, maybe you'll come back and you'll listen like, oh, now I know what they're talking about when I experience this problem. Because a large majority of these retainers that we had in the past were, we were signing on a lot of people. That's the known marketing agency. But sometimes the offer might be the biggest reason why you're not able to scale. Because, dude, at times it took a lot of time and energy out of all of us to continuously run the business that we're at right now. I think right now we're at this point in time, doing pay per lead and changing that offer to our final last offer has made it so much simpler for us. What would you say would be the simplest things that people can do? Let's say they're in their agency right now. They have maybe 10, 20 clients and they want to scale, but they're currently on these type of offers where it's like retainers, possibly rev share, anything where it's like a month to month type of agreement with the client.
Yeah.
I would figure out the root cause of the problem that's holding them back from scaling, because depending on what their offer is, it's going to be different. So if you're doing like a rev share model with contractors, there could be a potential to hire types of clients that should not be on the rev share model, where you'll waste too much time with the CSM contacting the clients. If their communication is poor, that could be the bottleneck right there. Those types of clients should be on a pay-per-lead model. So the pay-per-lead model is not dependent on the communication. Hey, a lead came in, card's getting charged. For that rev share, we have to have that communication to find out, did you sell a job? And if we don't know if you sold the job, it's going to waste a lot of the time. So it just depends on what the bottleneck is, and then also how far do you want to scale that company? Because you want to scale, do you want to scale to 200, 500K per month, or do you want to scale to like 50K per month? It's so everyone's opinion or, perspective of scaling is different. And that's what held us back. We don't want we don't want the 100K per month. We want that 500K per month. We want that $1 million per month. So different bottlenecks.
Some people content with 30 to 40, but what would you say, Frankie?
Yeah, I mean, we at least need to hit $500,000 a month so we can exit. I feel like that's the goal.
We were not able to do that on the other models. It's not possible.
It's just not scalable, not to the rate that we want to scale. You know what I mean? Imagine this. Imagine you have 10 clients all in Texas, right? In the same city that you get leads for $5, $10, $15, and you're selling them for $70. Jimmy doesn't want it. Call Marco. Marco don't want it. Call Lucas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got a bunch of people to run through. It doesn't matter who doesn't want it. The leads are coming in. Someone's going to buy it regardless because they're all exclusive, right? At least the way that we do it. There's people like Angie's. Yeah, they sell it like a couple people. You could do that. There's going to come a lot more problems with that too. Like customer service, things like that. Everything has its negatives and its positives. But like when it comes to doing everything exclusive, you don't feel bad about it, right? If you're selling a lead, because it's only going to that one person, and it just doesn't matter who it goes to, though. Right?
Keeping the morals and ethics aligned with the business. I know a lot of people in these industries that necessarily don't follow those kind of orders.
No, and that's the thing. The people should not be doing that. You always want to follow the rules 100%. You want to be ethical, moral about everything that you're doing in business, because you will begin to burn out. And that's what Will's, I think, talking about. A lot of the people in this space, they like to play in that gray area, and that's something you can't do when you're talking about people's money and their businesses, because that is how they support their families. So I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's been the biggest thing throughout the whole, time we've been doing this, is keeping everything done the right way. And while we see a bunch of people, like recently, we had a guy literally come steal all of our testimonials, all of our stuff, create an account. We had clients calling us about, who is this guy using our stuff and stealing our things? And then we had problems with them. And then it's like when you do things the wrong way, eventually it will catch up to you and cause an issue. It's like you're removing headaches and obstacles in your way by just doing it the right way to start. Now, by no means, it doesn't have to be perfect. When we say do it the right way, we say just do it the way that at least you're being moral, you have morals, you have ethics, you're doing it the best way that possibly you can do it. We don't have to be perfect. And I want to touch upon that, Alex and Frankie, because I know this is a big thing for agency owners, maybe starting out, maybe growing, that they want everything perfect.
Well, not everything perfect, but back to the ethical and the moral thing. a mentor of mine was talking to people, and he was saying if you have those, not just the moral and the ethics, also the compliancy. So if you are doing things that are non-compliant at your stage that you're at right now, if you're watching this, you probably are under 50K per month, like the majority of people, and you bring that to 50K per month, or you bring it to 500K per month, those types of things that you're doing at your level, at that level, will put you in jail. Like, you'll go to prison. So make sure you're doing everything legally, 100%. And because somebody stole, guys, like, if you're watching this, imagine your agency and you have testimonials, videos of your clients saying, yes, your agency is the best, blah, blah, blah. And you have case studies that are like scientific case studies of their campaign, the leads that answered. And another person is using all of that like it's their company. Insane.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild right there. Another one that, like, the niches, because recently I was just talking to one of my boys. He does e-commerce. He wanted to get into like the agency space, and he was like, dude, what niche am I going to start with? I want to start today. I'm like, you probably need to think more about this. But I know that there's a lot of different niches that are possibly profitable, especially with lead generation. And I just want to touch up as well that we do lead generation for the contractor industry. So if anybody's wondering exactly what we're doing, it's that. Now, what would you say, Frankie and Alex, myself? I would say, as much as I don't want the competition, contractors is a good niche. There's still enough, it's a blue ocean, enough for everybody to go around. But there is also like insurance, things of that nature. What do you guys say are, like, I guess, good niches for people to get into? Or what is your opinion on niches? Because I know you picked one, you went hardcore on it. You didn't have any other shiny object. Can we dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, let me just add
that, and then I'll go after.
Let me just add on real
there
quick.
Goes the light.
We're gonna add a little bonus. Me and Alex were actually talking about this before this podcast. We're gonna add in a little bonus to the bottom. If you guys want our top 10 niches, like, that we know are proven to actually work, we know other agency owners are making money with it, like, go down below, click on the link, and we'll hook you up with it.
Yeah, so for the niches, it's kind of like e-commerce. Now, back in the day, people would drop ship. All right. I know I'm always bringing up e-commerce, guys, right? Like, there's Alex talking about the e-commerce shit again. All right. Back in the day, though, when you drop shipped, you had to go on AliExpress and look at different products. And the more experience you have with testing the products, the more of like an ability you have to find winners. And that's the same thing when you're in the agency lead generation space. So the advice that I give on the niches, it's because, like, I have a feeling, but also I can back it up with facts. But there's that feeling that I have, like, oh yeah, this is a hot niche right now. And I'll give you guys one. It is ceramic. It's not the ceramic coating for it's
EPF?
Epoxy flooring.
Epoxy flooring.
Now, the epoxy flooring, that niche has probably like 50 to 150K in the US. That's enough for $1 million agency right there. But the fulfillment is where you will have the problem scaling to like that 200K. If you just get ass results for your clients, it's easy to fulfill on Facebook if you have the right creatives. And they can charge like up to 5 to 10K for the epoxy flooring. It's hot right now. It's hot.
A high ticket. And it's also a niche that has a bunch of people in it, and the fulfillment is easy.
Easy.
What is the fulfillment? What's an easy way for somebody that just got into fulfillment to, like, go and look at other creatives? Like, how would you tell somebody? Because for me, I want to touch up on this, because for Frankie, going to the CSM, the back end, you the fulfillment, me the sales, I want to kind of give a good understanding for how people can kind of start looking. But also a big thing that we have in agencies is validation. That, you get so much information from YouTube and, people that you talk to in the industry, and then possibly mentors that you get as well, and coaches and court. There's so much information out everywhere. How do you decipher the right information, or just, like, how do you go from testing or knowing which way is right, especially when it comes to fulfillment?
Yeah, you just don't want to be retarded. Like, there was this one video, and they were talking about Wes Watson. And Wes Watson is like, do you know Wes Watson, Will?
Yeah, I know Wes Watson.
Frankie, do you know Wes Watson, right?
No, I don't, bro.
All right, so
Who's
Wes
that?
Watson, bro, he went to prison for like 10 years. And
Oh,
then he gets out and he's like, bro, all tatted up, like gangster shit, right? And he started teaching people how to have a better life, right? So he's like a lifestyle or like motivational coach.
Yeah.
Imagine how fucked up those people are that are paying him to coach them on how to have a better life, right? Like how how it's fucked up. Like, dude, they're paying him. If you know Wes Watson, you know what I'm talking about. If you're watching this, like, you know
What do you say
I'm
about
saying, like,
just,
units? I'm saying, like, you should know. Like, if you're watching a YouTube video, you should have a feeling like, is this person bullshitting?
what
You're
if they actually
bullshitting
feel
me
that
to me.
Wes is the right person for them though?
Dude, there's no way. Like, then yeah, get him away from me. That
So how
no.
do you go about finding Frankie? Because we've gone through many different consultancies. I personally spent, before we did all this, spent tons of money on coaches. I know Alex, we probably all together spent over like 50, 60 grand.
No, 150 for sure, bro. We've spent a lot, Will.
Probably more than then you guys are adding on more than I have. I know for me, I've spent like 10 around 10 to 20. You guys probably fucking way more than that.
No, it's not worth it. Yeah, because the more money you spend into coaching, the more money you're gonna make. So keep spending it.
So how do you find those right people? Because like I've gone through people that necessarily didn't help me as much, that it was me that put myself in that good spot.
Dude,
and like it was just a stepping stone.
You test it out and you don't get butthurt if it doesn't work out. You had to test it. Bro, test it. See if it's gonna work. And you really want to find like the little things that are gonna make you the most money. So if you go in there and you have this crazy expectation, like at the point we're at, Frankie, you and me, it's like, dude, if we spend the $5K on the monthly program and we get one thing, that one thing can make us a shit ton of money. So I'm not going to be, but if $5K is your last $5,000 and you need this too, and this is common sense shit, guys, after the fact, right? Because I know a lot of people will spend their last money and then they get so emotional because it was not what they wanted it to be. You got to test it, and you have to remove that emotion out of it.
I think, Frankie, what would you say? Because what have you gotten? What was your best piece of knowledge that you gotten from all the consultants and all the other programs we've gotten? Like, what was the biggest needle mover for the agency that like helped change it all? Or different parts of the agency? Because we had some in the beginning, we had some in the middle, some where we're at right now. Like, what were those needle movers?
I guess at first, sales is always the biggest issue for people. It's sales. Okay, how can I get my first client? After sales, it's fulfillment. And then how can I fulfill and get sales at the same time? That's if you're a solo entrepreneur, right? Luckily, we have a team, so that wasn't the case. It was a little bit easier than if you're just doing it alone. But sales is always number one. How can we get deals? Second, it's how can we market these deals? How can we make sure that we actually get these people leads? And third is actually managing all these people. When you guys get to 50, 60, 70, 80 plus clients, it's a lot of people you guys have to be dealing with, talking to, making sure they're paying on time, making sure if they need a re-up, you have people, SDRs, whatever has to be calling them to upsell them, whatever has to be happening. You need automations in place. You need things that are making your life easier. If not, you're going to be spending a lot of time. It's just going to collapse. Regardless how many times you want to scale, if you don't have operations in place to scale, it's always going to collapse. So like Alex said, I think he said it like perfectly, like the little things that you get from every course, right?
What was an example? Give me an example, one that was like the biggest, maybe recently, the biggest needle mover.
You know the one I'm thinking of.
Recently?
No,
it doesn't have to be recently.
Well, or the biggest like needle mover.
For me was Avi.
Yep.
Avi was like, he showed us a lot about CSM and how to, like, our biggest thing was when we were scaling so fast, like, how can you handle all this? What are like systems operations? He taught us like the basics on it. That really got us moving. It's those little things, right? If we got anything out of it, that was number one.
But back to what Will was saying, like, how do you know which like program to trust? I think also, how do you know which coaching programs to buy and order? So the first one that after I did the e-commerce course and wasted a lot of money because I didn't waste because I learned the Facebook ads through. Exactly. Do you see that? I didn't make a bunch of money with e-commerce, but I learned how to run Facebook ads, and that
might not help you now, might help you later.
Might help you later. So the thing, I learned Facebook ads. That was media buying. But if I were to do it again, I probably would have learned sales first. Then I would have learned media buying. So I would have went into a program that had all of that. But if they have all of it, like, they're not going to be the best at it. So I bought a program specifically for sales. Like, they didn't do any media buying, Facebook. It was not a marketing coaching program. It was a sales program. So that's how I knew it was going to be the best type of product to buy, because we didn't need the CSM stuff at that point. So I'd go sales, and then I'd go media buying, and then find another program for like the CSM and structuring it with the SOPs. And there's that one agency that works with agency owners, and they systematize their entire business. And I think they use ClickUp. Frankie, do you know that company? Remember?
Yeah, I think I remember them.
So
They're
I think
going to set
that's
up for us now.
important information.
It's like, yeah, that's the most important thing is like going in order. But then what do you say about the people that, because like selling necessarily, what if you don't know how to fulfill? How do you have confidence and conviction in selling?
You have to
Because
be
like for me,
That's
you have
selling.
to be a psycho.
what's up?
You have to be a psycho. Yeah.
That's selling for you.
Like me, like I would say that for the sales, if you are starting out, or even if you're at an intermediate or even advanced level in your agency, there's different portions of the sales, because once you know how to sell the client, then it's really working on how much conversions and all the little the nitty gritty nuances of what's our percentages now, how do we convert these little people, there's like these leads are dead, we need to reactivate these, and there's so much other headaches that you get later on that's sales, that's more advanced. But in the beginning of it, really, like, a lot of people are scared to start the fulfillment. You can white label the fucking thing if you have to. Like, you don't even have to do the fulfillment. The most important thing is understanding the validity of your idea and agency. By if you are able to sell somebody on your product, that you now can go and fulfill it. You can take time, you can give delays, you can do whatever. But the most important thing is being able to sell it. Is that, yeah, the sales is like the biggest driver of the agency. It's like 80% of the agency. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but if you're not getting people in and continuing to grow, how do you scale?
I would say that mindset, though, that you're afraid to sell because you don't know how to fulfill, it's because you're not around the right people. So for my brother, he has a garbage can cleaning company, 4 employees, and he could say like, well, what happens if my employees don't show up? But he does not have that mindset. He says, I'm going to find somebody. It's not even there's no fear if nobody he doesn't give a fuck if anybody shows up. He's going to take care of business. He's going to find some people. So it's just like, if you sell somebody, dude, you would know, going to Facebook group and say, hey, does anybody know how to run Facebook ads for X and Y, Z niche? Like, so that's, you need to be
the
around
network.
Well, your network is your net worth. But no, you need to be around people that don't have those retarded mindset beliefs, because it's just holding you back, right? Because if you were around us, we would make you feel like, what are you talking about? You're afraid to sell. Like, that sounds so stupid. You'd be like, oh, they're right. Like, I need to go out there and sell. And that's a big burden off your back.
Most of the time we understand what we need to do. We just create excuses so we don't do them. It's like, all that you're really looking for is like, yeah, just your answer is valid, just direction. At the end of the day, you have all the information that you need around you at your point in time, at your stage, to do what you need to do. Obviously, we don't know how to make $1 million company when you're just starting out, but you know how to sell your first client. Like, you know how you need to be doing that. There's so much information. You just got to worry about that step and then continue to grow. But because the network, recently I've been expanding out. I know that we have a lot of inner circles that we're in. We have our own little inner circle. We've been in other, you've been to masterminds as well. Just recently, the one out in Miami. We know a lot of new people that we're networking with. How would we say, like, because for me, it's like, I'm using my friends and the people you surround yourself. They start introducing you into more new people. Like recently, yesterday, I met a couple different people that all are online Mondo here, same age as me here in Orange County, that I didn't know that were here, just because of my friend that I associate with. He's very successful, and he will just naturally bring me in contact with people most similar to us. So What do you guys say are like the best ways to network with people, find people in your industry when you're first starting out? Because as you continue to grow, you'll just naturally be attached to people that are kind of at the same problems as you.
You know
You
who would
kind
have
of bond
yeah,
on
you know who would
problems.
have that answer? Cameron, and he's a part of our inner circle. You know Cameron?
Yeah.
Cameron is the master, and we saw it from when his agency was at 0 per month all the way up to now. Where is he? What's he doing? Like 50, 60K per month?
Think around there,
And
yeah.
I remember when he joined, he just would hit everybody up. Everybody became friends with Cameron. We should do like a video with Cameron and how dude, he has so much game on that. But Frankie, what would you say about it?
Yeah, no, that actually gave me a memory that we joined Matt Shields' coaching program, and I was like,
Yeah.
and I saw Cameron when I was doing a lesson from Matt Shields on sales. You remember that, where we were
Yeah.
doing the little mastermind for the people in their coaching program,
Yeah.
and I saw Cameron and there was like Cameron, and I was like,
Yeah, right.
this
Yeah,
guy's everywhere. This
yeah,
guy's everywhere.
no.
It was the funniest thing.
That's what it is. It's being everywhere, but then also just hitting people up like, hey, what are you doing? It's kind of like sales. So if you're good at sales, you're going to be able to network well because you're just communicating with people, having conversations, and being natural. I think just how well can you talk to somebody and make it seem like you guys have been friends for a lifetime, right? And it's just that energy that you give them.
I want to say one thing in specific because I just kind of noticed something is that a lot of the people you have surrounding you necessarily are in the similar paths as you. What I really want to make a point of touch on is your network and the people you're going to be most comfortable with and actually have in your inner circle are going to be the people that do the same thing as you or very, very similar. Like, I'm not going to have a big circle of people that are, that own laundromats and are doing real estate and brick and mortar and all this other stuff. Like, the people that I'm close to and the friends that I can actually network with that we provide equal value to are people that are also doing lead gen, also doing agencies, maybe probably e-commerce too. It's all the same online money type thing because everybody's doing ads and stuff like that.
Good point. That's a good point, though, because not just successful people, because I have friends that have friends of successful people, but they're not all in the same industry. But imagine having all of your friends having the same type of business that you do, but in a different niche, sort of like lead generation with us. It helps you out way more. Like my brother, he owns the garbage can cleaning company, and he has so many other friends that own garbage can cleaning companies in different states. And now whenever somebody sees something in the market, they're like, hey, check out this, use this. This is going to make you more money. So yeah, keeping them, having your friends that are in as similar as you can get industry will help you out.
Yeah, 100%. What have you seen is, Frankie, so this is like a big thing I want to touch on all of us, and I want all of us to kind of answer this for the people. I kind of want everybody, this podcast, this first one, it's not going to be the most structured. We're just kind of spitballing. Look, these are going to be raw. These are just going to be us conversating as friends and, pick up along the topics that we speak about. You'll get value through everything. But the drivers, I'm not talking about F1. I'm talking about what are your actual emotional drivers that keep you going? How important is it to put goals and put drivers in place and have that direction set for yourself? Because, dude, Frankie, Alex, this was not, as much as people like to say it's easy, there is battles, there is trials, tribulations. We go through ups and downs in business, and it's not all the happy fucking rainbows. Like, what keeps you pushing during those times that are hard? I remember, Frankie, me and Alex were both gone for 2 weeks. Competition, but we were gone for 2 weeks, Frankie. Nobody was here. You were running it everything by yourself. You remember that? And that was a decently hard time because it was not, we weren't used to having a solo operation. What kept you going? What did you feel during that portion where kind of talk about that for a second?
It was light work, bro, to be honest. It wasn't that hard because I just hit you guys up if I needed something. Hey, blah blah blah. All right, cool. You know what I mean? Got it done. Like, it's if you have common sense, you could probably do anything, bro. Like, it just some people overcomplicate it. I feel like
who's overcomplicating it? It's themselves.
Yeah, and then there's also the emotional drivers, right? Like, I want to touch on what you said. Like, there's up and downs. Like entrepreneurship is an emotional roller coaster. Like, you have your ups, you have your downs.
Really, it's
like back and forth. And like for me, the thing that always keeps me going is like faith, right? Like I believe in God, I believe in Jesus. Like, I consider myself a Christian, I believe in God. And I just have faith that things are going to work out the way that he wants them to. And that's it. All I can do is just try my best. And that's it. You know what I mean?
So
And
faith was a big mover for you.
Amen.
yeah.
Amen, brother. How do people, let's say they're not faithful, how do people get that driver for themselves?
Read the Gospels.
It's tough,
Read the
right? Or you got to like love your family a lot to the point where you're like, you know what I mean? But there's always going to be, I don't know, there's always something missing,
If they don't have, my bad. Keep going, my bad.
Go ahead. I was done.
I'm just saying, if they don't have faith, then like, dude, like faith is, you have to have faith to an extent.
Yes.
Like, so how do you get through the tough times? You're around people that don't perceive those as tough times, and they make you change your emotional state. Like, oh, probably shouldn't be so worked up about this. Being around those types of people. So yeah, I mean,
and I don't. Maybe we could put this on the screen, but I don't know if people know this. The valley, the 5 stages or 4, I think it's 4 or 5 of an entrepreneur. I think Alex Hormozy touched on this. I think it was like the 5 stages where it goes from I actually have it pulled up. It's the uninformed optimism. You go through the informed pessimism, and then you're at like the valley of despair. This one where it's like the business where he goes down, and then this is like the 3-month period. Is that Peter Thiel? I saw it from Hormozy, but then, then after that big valley of despair. So this is where I want to kind of touch up on shiny object. I'll be honest. I have the biggest fucking case of shiny object before me and Alex, he kind of helped me with that. You were a big proponent to me just removing that entirely, kind of giving me the direction, kind of just like
shiny object,
fuck
yeah,
everything else that you're doing. This is what we need to focus on. So I want to thank you for that as well. But for other people, this is huge. I talked to a bunch of people. They're like, I want to do this. I want to do that. This idea sounds great. Like, I'm doing e-commerce, doing $50K a month, but I want to fucking start a lead gen company. Like, they're just all over the place. And then they end up going to these valley of despairs where they want to switch, where maybe things aren't what they seemed, or it just doesn't, maybe they're not making enough money. It was harder than it thinks. They're not generating the results. How do people get out of that valley of despair where they start the agency? They get maybe their first client, their fulfillment sucks. Then everything starts crumbling, and then they don't know what to do. And they're like, is this even worth it for me anymore?
Yeah.
How do we go from that?
Most logical way is to think about it logically. So every business model is a game, and the better you are at the game, the more money you'll make. So what they are doing is they are quitting that game and starting another game from level 1, and then hoping that game is easier to level up. But in reality, most of the time it's not going to be, and every business model or every game is going to have its harder levels that are harder to get past. And that's when you just got to dial in, got to lock in, and get the information that you need to get to the next level, because that's where a lot of people fall off. So
information is the gateway.
You should get happy. Oh, right here, this is a hard level right here. This is where all the brokies quit the game. This is where if I solve this problem, we're gonna get it. You know what I mean?
That's getting out of the valley of despair. Frankie, look, I'm not gonna boast your boat too much, but this guy, big music icon before, 50 million views, maybe, or something like that. I don't know about that.
Joke about
something like that. So Frankie, because we're touching on shiny object right now, you came from an industry that you had success in. A lot of people knew you back in the day in that community. What made you really just decide that, hey, like, because that isn't really a valley of despair. You were at a point where like, hey, I can really make this a real thing. What made you like, hey, no, I'm going to stop this and then go into this online money agency that I don't know if it's going to work out? What made you decide to like really switch? That's a big jump.
Definitely.
Yeah. Lifestyle, man. It's lifestyle. It's like, what kind of life do you want to have? Right. You want to be like, watch an Elvis movie, watch a Rockstar movie. What ends up happening, bro? It doesn't end up pretty. It doesn't end up the way you think. You know what I mean? And it's lifestyle, man. Like, if you see everybody making money online, it's a peaceful life. You could travel. This year I've traveled more than I've ever traveled, chilling with my family. I work from home. You know what I mean? Like, you really have a different kind of freedom. that it's just different to everything else.
How do you
And
be self-aware? How do you be self-aware? Because I know, I mean, I know you touched up on the lifestyle that
yeah,
it took you some, you wanted to change your lifestyle, but how do you even get to that point? Because when you're in the weeds of it, all you can see in front of you is like the success or keep going with what you're doing. How did you like take a step back out of when you're in the weed of it and like really think, hey, is this what I want to be doing?
well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had kids. You know what I mean? I have 2 kids. And I'm 23 years old, right? So I have people I have to take care of, right? So I'm no longer thinking about just myself. I'm thinking about like, okay, how can this benefit me, benefit my kids, benefit my girl, and make sure everything works in conjunction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's thinking about it as a team. Like,
Maybe people have kids. What would you say to the people that are trying to start an agency with kids or trying to scale it? Like, how do you manage both?
stop being a pussy, bro. That's the biggest one. Like Alex says the same thing. Like, you just gotta stop being a bitch, bro. Like, there's a point where people always make excuses. Like, I got fired. I remember. So when me and Alex, like, I first started like trying to do anything, I actually worked for Alex. For the people that didn't know, I actually took his sales calls, and I got fired, right? From my job because I was taking sales calls with Alex. And
Fuck
I
that
used to
job.
work from home at a call center. So I already had experience, talking. But I was making more money with Alex. You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck it. Well, I'm fired now. Let's go all in. You know what I mean? I don't have another job. It's kind of like that fucking mentality. Like when I turned 18, like a week after my birthday, I moved to Nebraska. I'm from Arizona, like literally across the country to try to become a musician. Like, you just gotta have sometimes that fucking mentality. Like,
Yeah, I think I remember when you got fired. Like I remember calling you up and I was like, "Dude, that's awesome.
I was
Fuck
in
that job."
Mexico.
Like we
That's
we had
awesome.
it. We turned it into a positive. It's like, dude, well, it is what it is. It already happened. Let's just now let's dial in. Let's keep going. Let's make some
At
more
least they
money.
fired me on Mexico on the beach.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. Also, I want to touch up on me as well because like I have a similar kind of story to Frankie. I as much as I didn't get fired,
Well, you were over
but
there
I
working
was
at one of the biggest companies in the freaking world. Guys, let's stop. Will was working at one of the most massive companies in the. What was it?
okay.
What was it, bro?
Okay, chill out, chill out.
Just chill out.
That's
I was
not
working
true.
at Google.
It's true.
I was working at Google. I was doing software engineering. I like through the whole portion of that, like so college and everything. As much as I've watched my dad build $1 million companies and have seen, I'm kind of on the similar path, and I've been around other people. Now, sure, it wasn't the easiest thing, but growing up there was ups and downs, but being able to see that in front of me was a big motivator that I had my dad to look up to, that I want to be like him. And that's what kind of gauged me. So ever in high school, college, I was always looking for new things. I would do startups. I had 2 startups actually that I had with like 5 developers.
When you
Now
went
these,
to, when you were working at Google, were you ever thinking, like, I know I'm not going to be doing this. I'm always going to have
of
my own
course,
business?
of course, I was
So what
actually
would you
running the
say to the
design
other
studio.
people? What would you say to the other
I
people
was
out there that are working a job right now, but see themselves wanting to become an entrepreneur or doing something that their parents want them to do? Because I'm sure a lot of people that were watching
I
this,
say do both. I say do both because in all honesty, don't be a
stop being a
bitch.
pussy and do both.
Stop being a
Exactly.
pussy. Stop
That's
being a
fair.
bitch. You have the
Yeah.
time. You have the energy. You're fucking
Yeah.
young. Even if you're sub 35, you have the fucking time and energy. It
And
depends
if
on
they
your
say they don't
responsibility.
have the time, what would you say to that?
Why don't you have the time? Like what is more
Well, what
important
if
than
they
your
like
own
going
self?
out to, what if, well, Will, what if they like going and hanging out with friends and like go like, that like normal people
I mean,
do?
if you want to hang out with friends, that's great. The friends that I hang around are all on the same wavelength. So if your friends aren't making money, they aren't where you want to be, then maybe that's a time to reconsider the friends in your stage.
And people, if you're
Like,
watching, like you probably, if you made it this far, you probably are not like that though.
yeah,
You
you're
probably
probably like
like are on your
at this
computer like
stage,
that
but
every day.
But
Yeah.
realistically, what I want to get to is that, yeah, when I was working at Google, and like what I wanted to preface is like I had many different ventures. I did the stocks, the e-com, the the startups, the tech, the whatever. I tried everything in the whole entire online industry. And then that's when I was going through college. I did 5 different majors. I was just figuring out for my parents, like, what did I want to do? What was going to work? What was going to stick? I ended up going to, Google. I switched to computer science, went to Google, did an internship there. It
What
was
was the
amazing.
interview when you went into Google?
It was
Yeah,
the
hey,
interview
Will
process.
sold them. No, Will sold Google. on going and working there?
So my background,
natural.
what my skill is being able to conversate with people and knowing how to
100%.
work the system, being resourceful, and knowing how to get what I want from people by just using my voice psychology and stuff. So a lot of my competition, I knew the only way I was going to stand out was making an opportunity for myself. I don't think I've ever told anybody this, but the only reason why I was able to get to Google was because when I switched majors, my professor was actually an employee at Google, and he actually, I connected very, very well with him. He gave me a referral. He pushed me to the front of the line. He then wanted to just out of nowhere told me, I got a mentor for you out in New York. You're going to get on calls with him. He's going to train you how to get this interview.
How did you connect with that? How did you connect with the professor so well? Because that was the thing that's what everybody's asking.
That was the driver.
No,
that was the.
How did you do that? How did you do that?
No glazing, real quick. No glazing. Will just has the give of the gab, guys. Like
the gift of the gab. The gift
that
of the gab.
try to sell. There's people that learn, which is okay. That's how I am. I learned. Will, he just knows how to talk to people. Like guys, like
that is. So, yeah, I would say that. I would say that.
Ice to an Eskimo.
Like some people, they say like our closer's boring. Like when they come out of the room, do they have like closer stamped on them? Will did.
Yeah.
Will did.
That's where I know my skill. But like it's subconscious. I just want to be their friend. And I didn't look at it beforehand of like, I want that Google internship from him. I just looked at like, I didn't even think about that when I'm looking to be their friend. I'm just like genuinely curious about what he's doing. I wanted to learn more about them. I remember I heard this. People think that you are interesting yourself. There was a study where like there was a plane. They put a guy next to a plant next to a guy that was on the plane. I think this was a Delta flight or something. And then they told him that, hey, I want you the whole entire trip to just ask him questions about himself and learn about him and make him talk the whole entire trip. And then they did one where they didn't talk at all. And then they asked the guy that was answering the questions, what's your review about the Delta flight? Now, let's guess the person that was getting questions and conversating said, this was the best flight I've ever had. It went by like a breeze. It was amazing. I met this very interesting guy, and he was amazing. He was like, what was his name? He didn't know his name. He didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know anything about this guy that he was talking to, but he thought that he was interesting because he cared so much about him. So people think you are interesting and they like you when they are allowed to be themselves around you, and they feel like you are intrigued about them and themselves. So for me, the biggest things is just asking genuine questions, getting on the same frequency as them. For me and him, I was on the same frequency as him. We clicked. I ended up hanging out with him sometimes. I did a trip and I saw him when I went to New York because he was in New York. He only did there for a semester, but kind of to touch upon that, getting to people's frequencies, knowing how you can connect with certain people because everybody's different, but they're the same. They all want to be able to explain themselves and get to the point where, they're like your buddy. Like, I can be safe around this guy. And that's what it was. So he will go head over heels to help me because I've been such a good friend to him.
Lee. You know Tony Lee? You know Tony Lee, Will?
Yeah, of course.
Frank, you know Tony?
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah, Tony was telling me that like when he would network, because he was talking about like how to network better. It's just about becoming their friend, and you know that you guys are real close when you guys start talking about dick jokes. He would say the people that are making the most money, he's like, Alex, you have no idea. These people are making multi-million, some billionaires. He's like, they're saying dick jokes around me. He's like, that's how close we are. So that's how you have to get it. You have to become like you're such good friends with them where it doesn't matter. Everybody can express their own opinion.
Yeah, they're your warrior. They're going to do anything for you. And that's when, after that, when I was there, because I knew from the beginning, I'm just doing this to kind of help, what my family wants out of me. They want me to go through this route and everything. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I know I can do anything that I put my mind to the absolute best. And look, out of everybody in that school, I was probably the only two people they took out to have a Google internship.
Wow.
And like out of a cohort of fucking 200,000 applicants, I was able to be that. I was not the best skilled. I didn't know the best about technology. I just knew how to work people and make opportunities for myself.
That Will you were a Googler. Is that what they call him?
Yeah, I was a Googler. But anyways, I was sitting there in the meeting rooms. I fucking remember this. I was sitting there starting my own agency in the meeting rooms. I would go after hours. You would be able to scan into like all these different meeting rooms. I would go take to their meetings. I was in like middle of my workday. I was like, fuck, I have to go take this meeting. I booked a cold call over at night the other day, and I'm like, I have to go take this meeting with this person. I was having clients that I was dealing with. I would literally take from work, go to their meeting rooms, and have a fucking client meeting while I'm at my job at Google. Now, I don't.
Man. Yeah,
I wouldn't
Google, I would
recommend
think
this, but
they're like their security is like they see that. They're like, all
it's
right,
like a fucking adult daycare there, bro. If you guys
Yeah.
have the chance, if I don't know if you're watching this, you probably aren't on that path, but that was a great thing. It just wasn't for me. Like I couldn't excel. I wasn't passionate about doing the fucking coding. I was
Yeah.
a gear of the cog, and that's what I learned later, that the design studio, I can't be in fulfillment. That's why we have you, Alex. Like, I'm not that person. I can't sit there. You are a genius. What am I going to do? Facebook ad? No, I'm going to fucking sell the guys. Look, yeah, I'm here running the sales. I'm not doing that.
Use
Like,
your
you have
skills,
a
right?
partner,
Use your
you have a
skills
partner.
to your advantage.
When you have a
Yeah,
partner,
like,
you have to see the skill set, right? Like it's
know your roles. Know your roles. Know your cogs in
Yeah.
the wheel.
And the better of an entrepreneur, the better they're going to know their role and how to outsource it, right? So if you, and that's
Yes.
like a guy who owned a mechanic shop. He owns like 7 mechanic shop. He has no idea how to change brakes because he finds somebody to do that for him because he doesn't want to do it because he's not comfortable doing that. Just like if you are not comfortable selling, find somebody who is. You just need to sell that one person to come and sell for it. Or if you're good at selling, but you don't know how to do media buying, go and sell somebody to do the media buying for you. That's the better of an entrepreneur you are, the better you can outsource.
Yeah, the less work you're going to be doing too, the less, like, if you started your business doing fulfillment and sales, the more you scale, the more you have to take yourself out of that position as well. Like right now we have 4 closers at this point. And as much as I used to be closing, I'm not closing anymore at that point. So as much as I know that I'm very good at it and whatever, at this point, to scale, to keep doing more volume, we have to be able to remove ourselves and then put people in place to do so. And that's training. We'll leave that for a whole nother podcast. Training is probably
at the top, boy,
that's
at the top,
that's a big
you're
topic.
hiring. Yeah, at the top,
Yeah.
you're hiring, or you can hire somebody to do the hiring for you.
Oh, there you go. That's
But that's a massive part of your business where if you're hiring the wrong types of people, that's an easy way just to ruin everything.
Yeah.
But is that
Look,
it?
I think we'll wrap this up. Frankie, do you have anything else to add for everybody here watching? Anything else that you want them to go do or that you would recommend for them to do?
One last time, guys, go ahead and go on the link down below. If you guys want that list of the top 10 niches that we recommend to you guys, I know Alex gave you one of them already, but there's 10 different niches. I know, like, people are going to be watching this. They get saturated, whatever. Just remember, like Alex said before, people are going to give up to a certain point. So if you could just
are going to be
people,
losers.
you're gonna win.
And these are ones that we're seeing currently in our networks that are doing very well. So
Yes.
we're not just giving you random ones that you could fucking generate on GPT. No, these are the ones that we're actively seeing that are growing right now.
Something I had a special feeling about that they're hot. They're hot.
That if we weren't doing this, we'd be doing that.
Exactly.
Basically.
That's a great way to put it.
If we weren't doing this, we'd be doing that. Sweet. Well, I guess, look, this is, we're going to have weekly podcasts here. We have also our personal channels you guys can go look at. Pleasure. Be back. Tune in next time. If you have any things that you want, topics, questions you want to ask, feel free to join our inner circle, as well as you can just leave them in the comment section. We'll touch upon them next week. Anyways, appreciate you guys. We'll see everybody later. Have a great rest of your day.
Take care.